Just leave it there for a minute.
Why? Why?
El link.
Viene mi gente.
Oh shit.
What you want? Just don't want him around here. ¿Cómo en inglés?
We're gonna cat.
How you doing, guys? Welcome to Gino PR TV. Once again, got a special tonight. We got the Octagon doctor with us. So, anyways, we're just gonna go through some stuff with Mayweather Mcgregor fight coming up. I know you guys have heard a lot of stuff, and we just want to clear some points out for you guys. So, just a quick minute right here. So go.
And for those of us that don't know.
So, anyways, welcome Octagon Doctor to the channel.
Thank you, man.
We're just gonna have some cool stuff to talk about here. You know, we have heard a lot of this fight coming up. What do you have to say for the upcoming event?
I mean, we've been waiting for a fight like this for the longest time. To see a high-level mixed martial artist compete against a top-ranked boxer in Mayweather, and this just makes it the biggest sports entertainment event of history so far.
So
El Vaso anyway.
We have seen a couple videos. You know, people just saying how Conor cannot go on a ring against the best boxer in the world. What did you say? You know, what do you have to say about that?
Well, to those people, there certainly have been a lot of people that have hated on this fight, and I can understand why they hate it. You know, they see mixed martial artists that has only taken 4 years to get to the point that he is. I mean, 4 years ago, he was taking cupones. He was taking government money. And now he's making millions and crossing over to the world. Instead, they're not going to be inspired. They're going to feel, we've fought for this all our life. Mayweather has been boxing since he was little, since he was 5, 6 years old. And now this guy, to be able to reach him in 4 years, of course he's going to press some buttons and people are going to feel that they need to hate on this fight. But don't mistake it. This is a magnificent event, and this is win or lose. I feel that Conor has already won because he's been able to reach this point. And that's what the boxing heads and the boxing analysts and the people that love boxing, they hate that. Oh my God, he's here. I can't believe that he's going to be able to fight. Those people
we even heard some of the fellow MMA fighters, talk about, he's not going to be able to, have a good fight against the boxer, which I really took it really wrong, because if I was the MMA fighter, I will go for my, my sports. You know what I'm saying? Like I will, if I was the MMA fighter, I will root for Conor McGregor. Putting himself in that position with all these different rules and all the changes and stuff. It's a big deal. It's a big deal.
Yeah, and what happens is that a lot of times the MMA fighters, not all of them. There's some that do kind of mention it, but picking Floyd Mayweather is the easy pick that doesn't hurt your feelings, because you know that if Conor loses and you picked McGregor to win, you know how the social media brings a whole new level. If you pick that and there's evidence that you were on Team McGregor, they're gonna be sending you memes. They're gonna be sending you pictures. They're gonna tell you a whole bunch of stuff. So a lot of people, to kind of feel safe from that picking a side. They're going, oh, Floyd Mayweather is boxing forever, so I'm going to pick him, and that's an emotionally safe pick. But if you're a true MMA fan, you should stand behind Conor, irregardless.
Like the different in age and different fighting styles. Because as we noticed, Conor McGregor has a really weird but successful fighting style. And they have all these changes on him. Like glove difference and all that stuff. What would you say to our people though that be talking about the glove difference is gonna be a big change in Conor McGregor's impact?
Oh, there's an interesting study that what was done about this. They're gonna UFC gloves are 4 ounces, and the gloves that they're gonna use are 10 ounces. I think they were trying to go 8, but 10 ounces. So it's 6 more ounces. So in reality, is if you take two MMA gloves and you tape them together, and the padding on it is what's gonna make contact. Initially, I thought that that was gonna make a big difference, but I went online and I searched for different scientific studies on the impact force of 10-ounce gloves. It's not that different. It's not that different. The only difference that the gloves are gonna play is once Mayweather makes, it's a bigger surface to cover up. But in terms of impact, is going to be virtually identical, virtually the same. So there's not a lot of people expect the power to fade. No, it's going to feel the same strength is going to be able to translate and hit Mayweather. Now, can he connect? That's another story. That's another interesting part. But the glove itself, it's not going to make much of a difference. Only in the defensive aspect. It's going to cover a little bit more.
Yeah, and before we have been spending some time in kickboxing fight as well as MMA fights. We both been together in those events, and
Oh yeah.
we have seen the difference. Between a kickboxing fight and an MMA fight, plus a boxing fight, which you and I are more familiar with it, as we grown up watching Tito
Boxing.
Trinidad, Oscar
Puerto
de la
Rico.
Hoya,
Yeah.
all those great boxers, um, and it's really weird though. I got a couple questions for you, if you don't mind, and I would like to all these people that been writing different stuff about the fight. I want them to get everything clear. That's why we made this stream for all of them.
Absolutely.
So can I go with the first question though?
Shoot it. Shoot it.
So how the glove weight will impact speed, power, and endurance of Conor McGregor?
The endurance, the power, and it's gonna stay virtually the same because it's just we're talking about such a small difference. 4 more ounces of padding is think about the palm of your hand, right? A steak that fits in the palm of your hand is 4 ounces. So it's just about half an inch of thickness, the size of your hand, extra padding. It's not that heavy. So the power is gonna stay the same. Now, defensively, it's better. So you have more coverage. Not
Right.
that much. We're talking about half an inch, maybe to 3/4 of an inch more, which could make a difference, could not. It's not going to be a big deal. Moving forward, endurance. We're talking about 12 rounds that are going to be not 5 minutes. I believe there are 3 minute rounds. So we're going to have 36 minutes of fight. Now, people think, oh man, it's Connor's used to 5 rounds, but MMA rounds are 5 minutes. So Connor's used to fighting 25 minutes. So they're just adding an extra 10 minutes of fight to Connor. So it's not that big deal. So I think cardio wise, uh, it's going to be different for Connor. I think it'll play a small role if he gets clipped later on the rounds. But Mayweather has his issues with his hands, so that's also to be analyzed to. I don't think big knockouts going to happen, but in terms of power, the same. Speed, practically the same. Endurance, that's going to be a factor because you're carrying extra for a little bit of extra time. Let's say it's a if we classify into mild, moderate, or severe factors, I would say that's a mild factor, mild influence, not a big deal.
And I'm going back to what we were talking about. The glove difference and all that stuff. You and I both know that if you wanna punch somebody and cut it, you will cut it with whatever glove you have on. You know,
Exactly.
it's not like you're putting a pillow on top of a pillow. Plus a glove on top of that. It's basically the same thing that we have seen in previous fights, right?
Oh, absolutely. And there's angles, right? The When we talk about cuts, there's a ridge on top of the eye socket that's very sharp, and there is a ridge under here. So usually the cuts are under the eye and over the eye. There's no elbows uh, to be worried about. It doesn't matter if you're hit with a 4 ounce glove. Well, if you're in MMA, cuts are easier because you have the elbows to account for, the knees, shoulder grappling. There's a lot of variables, but in boxing, it's just that big surface hitting that angle perfectly, and the cut will open. I mean, and Floyd has been cut before by Miguel Cotto. Uh, Floyd has been cut by Oscar De La Hoya. So he's been cut, and he's gonna have, come fight time. He's gonna have the best cut man that money can buy. And he has a very professional team that wraps his hand. That's another question now.
So I'm going to the next question. Going to the next question. What would you think about the difference in age and aggression, arm reach, and hunger for the win of this fight?
Oh yeah, that's a great question. Um, when we talk about the age of the fighters coming um, into this battle, we have to know medically, like as a doctor, as a ringside physician, as an internal medical physician, there's one factor that not a lot of people are weighing in here. Conor is 26 years or 28. I believe he's 28 years of age, and Mayweather's 40. There's a big difference. Athletically, you might look at them the same way. You're like, man, Floyd's cut. He's skinny. He's looks athletic, and Conor is athletic. They're both kind of shredded. Conor a little bit more, but chemically, we have to think there's a big difference there. Testosterone wise, I already calculated this. There's going to be a 15% decrease of testosterone at Floyd's age. So we're talking about a 15% less amount of the hormone that lets you rebuild muscle, repair bone, and heal joints after you're going through your training camp. So that's good. That's a moderate factor there. Age, it's a big difference. Not the same running a mile when you're 20 to
Right.
running, and we can all of us fans can know the difference. I mean, you can just remember, and we're not putting our life on the line in the ring, but we can remember how did it feel, playing a basketball game when you're in 20s. Do it when you're in your 30s, and do it when you're in your 40s. It's a whole new different ballpark. So it's gonna be a moderate factor. It's gonna be something big that we need to account for. But again, fans and analysts, they just see you physically. They say, "Oh man, he looks good. He looks good. He's shredded. He's hitting the bag really fast, going, and he's running and he's biking and or." But you look at it chemically. There's a factor there. Good question.
So what do you think about the difference in the speed of these fighters? As we seen Mayweather before, he can prove he's a really fast paced boxer. But we have also seen Conor McGregor, his speed and power and tenacious. in the octagon, though. What do you think it's gonna be a big factor for both of his fighters? So?
Absolutely. Speed wise, we see that Mayweather is a high performer, right? By high performer, I mean that his skills are above average uh, by a lot of by a lot. So he's separated to the majority of athletes by a big mark. But he does get hit, and in the past he has gotten hit. Um, I don't think that speed. Floyd is fast, but he's faced faster opponents. I think that the speed that counts is the speed by which he analyzes his opponents and the way that he can move uh, while in the ring, in the middle of the battle, how he can make changes. So the ability of him to make changes. Does he still have it? Does he still train the brain? Is an interesting thing. We saw Lomachenko. Lomachenko is one of the best fighters nowadays, and I was seeing something in his training camp that really caught my attention. He was um, he was training a game. His dad Anatoly Lomachenko, who was the trainer of Vladimir Klitschko too. He's I think they're Ukrainian in descent, and besides training, at the end of the day, after doing rounds, after doing weights, after doing all that stuff, they sit them down in a table and they had like this game of little dominoes, wooden dominoes that he had. But Lomachenko had to kind of add and locate, and so he had to. They were training his capacity to analyze, and I thought that was super interesting. And I think that's one of the speed of analysis in the mind. It's one of the things that Mayweather is the greatest at. So I think he's gonna have that ability. He has that experience now. Can his body react to that? So it's the same. Like when we play an Xbox and we're hitting that controller, right? It doesn't matter. It's good. But imagine that the cable of the controller, it's getting old. You know, the buttons of the controller are getting moldy. You're gonna be getting that kill, doing the movements, but the message is going to get there at a different speed. So the outcome is going to be different. That's the interesting part. I think speed's going to be pretty even, both sides, but this speed,
That's gonna make the difference.
oh yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah. So this one is out of the books. I actually don't have uh, rated this one down, but we both know that Mayweather has a problem against southpaw fighters.
Oh yeah.
Is that right? So you know I don't know if it's true or not, but Conor McGregor is a southpaw fighter, ain't it?
Yeah, Conor McGregor, originally when he was 7 years old and he started training, he was orthodox, but he went into God, I forgot the name of the school, but he lived in Kremlin, in Dublin, Crumlin in Dublin, and he used to play soccer, and he was orthodox when he started training, but his boxing trainer trained him so he could square off his shoulders, no matter how the he's standing left side, southpaw with the right foot in front, and his shoulders, when you see it, go back and see it after we're done with the stream, and his shoulders change from orthodox to southpaw. So he's fighting as
Both
a
ways.
southpaw and an orthodox from southpaw stance, which is brilliant. And that's what allows him to accommodate and move in so many ways and sneak shots in. But you're right, Floyd Mayweather has been historically vulnerable. I think that's the word, vulnerable to southpaws. He's been hit by southpaws, and I think Connor's going to use that in his favor and land a couple shots. Most definitely.
It's gonna be a big factor. It's gonna
Oh
be a
yeah,
big factor for the fight. Yeah.
Cap Judah and Miguel Cotto fought. And there's another. I think was it not Hopkins, but man, I'm trying to. Hopkins is here. forgot. But he's been hit hard, hard by southpaws, and he's been knocked down. He's he was knocked down once, and he put his glove in the ground, and they didn't count it as a knockdown against Sab Judah. But he hasn't been knocked out. I'll give him that. And he's been able to readjust when being hit hard. He's been able to readjust, and he's been able to bounce back, download that data. That's a phrase that has been used really commonly. Say Floyd has downloaded the data of the fighter, and he's analyzed it. So if Conor can keep it fresh and give him different looks during the fight and land consistently, it could be a problem. It could be a problem, but he has to have a plan A, plan B, plan C, and plan D with Floyd. If he just comes in with one plan or two, it's going to be a long night.
So we have noticed too that both fighters has way different fighting style, you know, completely different. And how do you think this will affect the fighters? Knowing that there's some moves that Conor used to use in MMA that he's not gonna be able to use now.
Absolutely.
How will that affect his performance?
Oh yeah, it's a new game. A lot of people think that it's a new game completely for Conor, but Conor's first love was boxing. So when he was little and getting acquainted with combat, he trained boxing 100%. Then when he moved to MMA, when he was a teenager, I think he trained for 7 years in boxing before he started MMA. So he started MMA with uh, already having that strong puncher and that really, really solid boxing background. So he started knocking out people in MMA. A lot of guys in MMA don't have they have good coaches, right? But you never see the guys train purely boxing. And he had that advantage. So he knocked out a whole bunch of people and had a lot of power. He lost by submission. Um, I think twice before going to the UFC. But his people can't get it wrong. His base is boxing. Can Does he have enough time um, to polish his boxing enough to beat the greatest defensive boxer of our time? That is the question that is going to make everybody buy that pay per view. That is the question. That difference of style is going to be a big deal, but people are looking at that difference of style as a plus. They're looking at it as a man. Floyd has beat boxers. Can Floyd beat an MMA fighter? A true fighter, because boxing is just fists. An MMA fighter is ready for everything. To give an example, if when Floyd grabbed the flag, the Irish flag,
at the Toronto
the press conference.
Yeah.
People don't get it wrong. If McGregor would have gone after Floyd, it was over like this: clinch, elbow, knee, choke, and Floyd's out, and he can't do anything. Right? If you give Floyd and McGregor 3 minutes inside a cage, that is all that it needs, and it could be even less. If you tell me, Dr. Vazquez, Octagon Doctor, we're going to give you $1 million, pick how much time it's going to take Conor to take out Mayweather in a cage. 3 minutes. 3 minutes. Give me my million. 3 minutes. That's all it takes.
That's so true, though.
Yeah.
So we have no Mayweather. Everybody knows him as a really defensive fighter. Really smart guy when he's in the ring. We have seen a lot running away in that Pacquiao fight. You think Mayweather will do the same with Conor, as Conor is this big aggressor fighter?
Yeah, I mean, Floyd wants us to think that he's going to go brawl and he's going to go throw hands with Conor. But he wants us to buy the pay per view, right? He wants us to take our $99 and get the pay-per-view. He's like, no, I'm older, I'm slower, I can't move like I moved. We're gonna throw hands. No me como ese fake, papa. I don't I don't believe him. I don't. A lot of people will believe him. I will buy the fight for that. But he's protecting his 48 and 0, is it, or 49 and 0?
Yeah, I think 49 now. I think.
So he wants to be 50 and 0. He's protecting that so much. If he gets hit by Conor in the first rounds, and Conor gets his attention and can't knock him out, he's gonna be in the bicycle for 8 rounds. He'll go in and out, and he'll hurt Conor, and Conor will hurt him, but he'll be in that bicycle 100%. There is when you talk about the psychological performance of a boxer or any athlete, right? Let's say you're a wrestler fighting in the UFC, and you get hit, boom, you get connected in the chin, and you were trying to box, but you're a wrestler. When you get hit, your mind's gonna go back to your base. You're gonna go try to take the fighter down because you're gonna be acting
trying to look for it
on instinct.
right.
You're gonna instinct. So his instinct, we all know it. When Cotto hurt him, he got on the bike. When Manny put his hands on him, when Sab Judah put his hand on him, he goes on his bike. He picks point fights. So I think that's what. If you tell me what's your prediction right now, I would say Conor will hurt him round 2, round 3. There's going to be some good round 1. Is going to be a lot of measuring, and Conor's going to probably go out and do some crazy capoeira move and dance a little bit. That's going to be fun. That's going to be fun to watch. But when you see it, you're going to remember him. You're going to be like, that doctor told me. That's going to happen. He's a good guy. But on the second, third round, we're going to see a lot of action. Second, third round are going to be the best. And after that, there's going to be a lot of movement and cutting up the ring. And we're going to see a slower pace fight. And maybe Mayweather can take over a little bit because that rounds 4 to 10 are usually Floyd's rounds. So we're going to see a lot of running and a lot of defensive boxing. He is. We're all going to be brokenhearted. It happens every time. Every time. He's like, no, I'm going to go out there all day, baby, all day. And then, boom. And it's not that it's bad. It's a beautiful thing, right? Seeing that skill, it's amazing. It's not a bad thing. I'm not hating on it, but that's what's going to happen. I mean, that's a pattern. He'll go back to it because psychologically, that's his base. So yes, the answer is yes. That's a long ass answer from my
part. That's actually pretty. It's fine though. But yeah, we have seen videos of Conor McGregor, in his trainings, being at home, spending time with his family and all that. He's really confident that he has what it takes to get on that ring and give it all he got. So, do you think that because of the edge power and all that confidence, he might win the fight?
Yeah, I mean, Conor has the confidence on his side. He's young. He believes in manifested reality. So there's a book that's called The Secret, right? And the teaching of that book is that if you want something, you think it, and then you speak it, and you do it, right? So he's high off of that. I mean, he's said every time he's called his fights, I'm going to knock this guy in the first round. I'm going to go into Aldo. He speaks a lot of things. So you can hate on that. And as a scientist, I'm like, as a guy of science, I'm like, does that really work? But after seeing him do it over and over and over, I mean, when he fought Nate Diaz, that was the only time that everything went wrong. And we can say, that doesn't work. You see, look what happened with Nate Diaz. But think about it. When he fought Nate Diaz, he was going to fight Um, Eddie, no, he was going to fight Rafael dos Anjos, so he was mentally prepared to beat Rafael dos Anjos. Rafael dos Anjos gets injured and gets out of the fight. In comes Nate Diaz. So it was a short, an opponent that was a short time opponent, a substitution. So things didn't add up. But after that, it's been smooth sailing. So you can, it makes you want, he makes you want to believe in him, and it's crazy. It's crazy. It's like he is exploding in positive energy, which for me it's a good thing. I think it's a good thing. I think it's a good thing for the sport, and I think that's one of the things that's pushing him, his self belief. That's his biggest weapon beside that left hand.
Yeah, he's really successful actually in his career, though we all have admired him, since it started. But do you think that his rage and all that out of control stuff might be bad for his career later on, or it's just a show that he might put in to win more fans, more uh, people for the venue?
Yeah, I think part of it is show, but part of it is real. He really believes that he can do it, and he believes that Mayweather is going. It has something that belongs to him. So that aggressiveness and that self belief, it's real. I would say 20% of that is for show. He's creating a persona. He's creating just like The Rock. Dwayne
Right.
Johnson, not The Rock, but we love The Rock. Think about that. Dwayne Johnson. We don't say, "Oh, there's Dwayne Johnson." Oh man, no, no. We say, "Oh, the star, Rocky, The Rock."
Right.
Yeah. Conor McGregor is not the notorious Conor. So when he's the notorious Conor McGregor, he's being his persona, but his persona is what helps him, be outlandish, be crazy, be without a shirt and a mink coat, walk, his walk, his crazy walk. So that is for the fans. And thank you, Connor. That's awesome. I enjoy the shit out of that. But
Yeah, he's a really fun guy to watch. It's you can laugh. You can enjoy his anger with it too. It's just insane. That Toronto conference that they had, I really enjoy it from beginning to end. It was just way entertaining. It's actually a pretty cool aspect that he has. As a person. And a fighter. He has uh this big talent, attract a lot of people. He's just like, I'm here, and everybody's like, wow, go crazy. It's like, oh my God, it's Conor. And we can see in all different type of videos and stuff you search for on YouTube and stuff. It's a really awesome guy.
he's a successful man, and we should all learn from it. I always say, whenever I make a social media post, I'm like, hey, you can hate on the guy, you can write whatever you want, but learn a little bit. If we take a little bit of what he's doing and we apply it to our lives, shit, you can get whatever you want. You can do whatever you want because he makes people around him successful. He's successful, so he's always trying to get to that next level, and we should take that lesson and apply it. And there's something that I've always said. When you see a high performer, somebody that's doing like LeBron James, like Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan, any any regular dude that's gotten famous off of a reality show and then has a successful career, um, or any academic that has done a big thing. If you haven't done that, you feel jealous, right? You're like, shit, Connor. The reality is that your a subconscious brain tells you, oh shit, you have two arms. Connor has two arms. You have a mouth and a nose. Connor has a mouth and a nose. You have two legs. Connor has two legs. You haven't done what he's done, but you had all the tools to do it.
Right.
So that makes people uncomfortable, and they want to hate it. They want to see him knocked out, but they're willing to pay a little bit of money and make him richer doing it. So instead of hating it, see, oh, how can I grab a
Especially
little
that
bit of
became
this
more
positive?
successful though.
Yeah. Yeah, it doesn't matter if it podcasting what you do. It doesn't matter if you work, at a steak and shake. It doesn't matter what you bring a little bit of that excellence. Bring a little bit of yourself. Don't be afraid of bringing a little bit of your personality into it, and you'll fucking rock it. There's some
So we
free personal advice.
yeah. No, I got this last one, and it's actually not a question. It's basically came out from me. Uh, so do you think if we saw in the Toronto conference, that Mayweather said that he didn't care if it was an octagon or the ring, he would just go ahead and accept the fight and beat Conor. We both know it's not gonna go like that, But if that would happen, if Conor McGregor uh, wins or lose the fight, and Conor McGregor sends him the contract to be in an octagon, do you think Mayweather will go ahead and sign to fight Conor McGregor in an octagon?
No, absolutely not. We all saw what happened when James Toney got in the ring with Randy Couture. Um, Imagine this fight. Let's say in a fantastic world that doesn't exist because it's not going to happen. He signs the contract, octagon. He gets in the middle. Conor grabs him. Conor works his way in with punches, and as soon as Mayweather, does the little shell,
You
legs
grab
go
by
from
the
legs go from under him. They're in the floor, and Conor grounds and pounds him to death, probably. So he won't do it. He's smart. He's 40. He's every bit of 40. His hands have been fractured multiple times, and I don't think the people will pay to see it because they know. We know all the MMA fans. We know, and the boxing fans will be like, "Oh, MMA is not real," and blah blah blah. So it wouldn't happen. It wouldn't happen. And Floyd's dad and his promotion company wouldn't let it because that would seeing Floyd getting battered like that would diminish his capacity to be sold as a show or as a fighter. So I don't think they'll do it. Never. I could bet
so
my arm,
uh,
my whole left arm.
so to conclude this live stream, uh, how would I say it though? It's kind of complicated. So do you think because of the this fight that's gonna happen now, either win or lose, will Conor McGregor be able to make a big fortune? As we heard, in the Toronto conference, though Mayweather was making a fool, basically out of Conor McGregor, say that Dana White was the one with the money, like he was under the wing of Dana White, and Mayweather was ahead and he was his own boss. So with this fight happening, would you see Conor McGregor as a free agent doing stuff on his own, like Mayweather did on UFC, or do you see him still under Dana White's wing?
Yeah, what Conor McGregor um, made a company outside of the UFC that's called McGregor Promotions, which he's doing a lot of the press tour through, and all his expenses and stuff are done there, and merchandising and all the sponsors, because he's gonna get paid for fighting. He's gonna get pay-per-view percentage, plus he's gonna have sponsors that are not gonna be controlled by the UFC. So he stems to make $70 million out of his fight purse. He's gonna make 100 million, 120, something like that. UFC is gonna grab 20% of that, right? Because he's under contract with UFC. So
Right.
clean for him just for showing up is gonna be $75 million, which is crazy.
That is
Out of the pay-per-view points, he's gonna make 20% or 30 out of the pay-per-view revenue. So that's probably gonna be another 100 to maybe 70 to $100 million. So he stems to walk out of this with 200 million maybe in his pocket. And
Mm.
but he's still under contract with UFC. He signed multi-year contract with the UFC, so he has to fight. He has to defend his lightweight title. He's the current 155-pound champion, so he has to defend it. And I think he'll just take a little break, maybe 4 or 6 months after this fight, and he'll be back in the cage, a lot richer than he was initially. And in 4 years, he did this. So it's crazy. I don't see him getting out of this, because if he's done this before with UFC. Him and UFC have butted heads sometimes for money, but you got to think that Dana White is the experience is who made this happen. He's the shark that made this fight happen, and Conor's just gonna feed from it. So the only way I see Conor staying in boxing, if he wins. If he wins, he knocks out Floyd Mayweather. He's not going back.
That will actually be really interesting to watch. You know, it's just like the world's best boxer getting knocked out by a UFC fighter in a boxing ring. You know, it's quite a thing.
If that happens, he's gonna be the biggest star ever, and then he'll stay in boxing and he'll try to fight. I think Amir Khan wants to fight him. I think Paulie Malignaggi wants to fight him too, because he went to spar with him, and there's a whole hoopla, a whole big deal made currently in social media coming from that. But if he wins, he's not going back to the cage. But if he makes a great fight, goes back to the cage, makes money. If he loses, goes back to the cage and makes money. So for him, like I said at the beginning, he already won. This is just a bonus. Winning will be a bonus.
Right. So you know, finishing this video, I would like to ask you, which fighter would you go for?
Man, if for the people out there that bet, if you have money, I have 2 bets for you. You can go to bovada.com, BOVADA.com. That's a great betting website. And there's two big bets. There is a prop bet that you just put your money, saying that the fight is not gonna be ended. It's gonna go the full 12 rounds. You don't pick a winner, and that'll get you, for every $50 you bet, it'll get you $40. So it's a good bet.
It's actually not bad at all.
It's pretty good. I'm gonna put a couple dollars on that one. But to win money in this fight, you have to bet in different ways. You have to place that prop bet of 12 rounds. You also have to take a chance. If you put $50, for every $50 you bet on Conor knocking out Floyd, you get approximately, if you bet 100, you get 300. Let's say this: if you bet $100, you get $340.
So it's more than doubling. You know, it's more than a double.
Oh yeah. If you bet 1,000, you get 3,500. So it's tempting. What I would do is divide money. If you have $100, put 50 on 12 rounds, you get 40. If you put 50 on McGregor winning, you get it's not 340, it's 150, $170. So either way, the only money that you spend to lose is $10, because if it goes 12 rounds, you get 40 back. So you got 90 back, and you spent 100. But if Conor wins, you get $170. Not that bad.
So which is your favorite fighter? You know, that's especially the question.
My heart, está pichando. My heart says I'm gonna say Conor McGregor, 6th round, by a cut on Floyd's right eye, which is gonna keep getting worse. I think that's the plan. There's a scar tissue on Floyd's right eye, and I think Connor's just gonna work on that and try for a medical stoppage. I feel it in my heart, and I think Conor has a great team, and I think that they're gonna try to exploit the scar tissue because when Mayweather covers, he covers that eye. Look at the fights; he covers that eye. So
Yeah.
Conor's gonna try to get in close in the clinch and get him with some dirty boxing and open that cut up. And if he does it, it's over by the sixth.
So anything
And
you
I'm
want
gonna
to
have
say
more
to
money.
the what's that?
I'm gonna have more money when he does.
So you have anything to say to the people watching right now?
Oh man, nothing. This is awesome. Stay tuned. Gino PR, TV photography and production. This guy right here is putting out a whole bunch of. What side are you, here or here?
Uh, I think I'm. I don't know. That's your side. I think that's
Well,
my
he's
side.
around. He's around.
We're here somewhere.
He's putting out pretty cool content, and subscribe to his channel. He's gonna do awesome things, and he's coming up in the blogging world. I'm doing my thing too. So if you subscribe to Gino PR, you gotta subscribe to Octagon Doctor. And I want to give a shout out to the people that inspire us from back home. We got Chente Drach back there. Shout out to him and Ed Electrox and Scarfield, all those crazy assholes down there. They were talking about the Conor fight with in their sorpresa podcast. So I'm gonna grab this link and I'm gonna post them. Shout out to you guys. Scofield is UFC Team McGregor, so you're my favorite now, guy.
Hell
Forget
yeah,
those other two
that's how it
guys.
goes.
Boom. Subscribe to this
Well,
man. He's awesome.
thank you, thank you. Well, guys, you seen it here before. This was my special guest, Octagon Doctor, Doctor Yared Vazquez, is with best doctor in the world. So,
No lie.
anyways, what's that?
No lie.
No lie, that's so true. Um, so anyways, make sure you guys follow this guy. This guy's awesome. Uh, and subscribe to my channel. Hit the bells on both of our channels. Though we always upload stuff for you guys to know. So this is basically a surprise session that we had. So I hope you guys enjoy it. And until the next time.
Peace. We're gonna do it more. We're gonna do it more. So
Oh yeah,
subscribe.
yeah. So just keep in touch, though.
Peace.